Coming up on Let's Get to the Points.
Tonight, it's going to be about Hyatt.
What would you say is your favorite Park Hyatt and your least favorite?
Easy. Our favorite Park Hyatt is...
Hyatt has about 30 different brands. What are some of the notable brands that you guys have stayed at?
One of my favorite properties is one that we've been at together. No, not Alila Napa.
Not that one.
So, pop quiz. There are 6 Hyatt properties that have a casino. Which ones can you name?
Oh my gosh, I've been to that one.
And now, let's get to the points. She loves traveling luxuriously for a fraction of the cost. It's Serena. He embraces every travel experience, and he proves adventure is found everywhere. It's Miguel. She teaches you and your family to travel on a budget while indulging in a little bit of occasional luxury. It's Nicole. And he loves using his points to fly some of the world's best airlines in first class. It's Mitch Shannon.
Welcome and thank you for joining us on Let's Get to the Points audio podcast, where we bring you the very best in tips and tricks in the world of miles, points, and travel. I'm Mitch Shannon, joined by my co-hosts who love traveling the world with their families using their credit card points and miles. First up, her middle name, it's Park Hyatt. It's Serena.
Hi, everyone.
After a couple of stays at the Rio in Las Vegas, he's back to globalist status. It's Miguel.
Hey, what's up?
Her first points and miles word was Hyatt. It's Nicole.
Hi, guys. How are you?
Please help us out. Click the subscribe button now below to our YouTube channel, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you watch or listen. Also, make sure you have signed up for our weekly newsletter that we send out with the latest points and miles news, or you can always scan Miguel's hand. You can always do that as well. Miguel, the hand, thank you. All right, scan the hand. Let's do it. Let's get to the points. Okay, if you can't tell already, tonight it's going to be about Hyatt. We're going to cover a lot tonight. And right now it seems that most feel that the world of Hyatt is arguably one of the most incredibly generous and cheapest points redemption properties out there. We're going to go in depth tonight. We're going to talk about their, 30 different brands and about all the different ways to redeem and earn their points. And of course, Nicole is going to share her favorite things about Hyatt and why it's her true love. Well, maybe after your husband, right? Which one comes first, Nicole?
I don't know. Let me check my contacts.
Her concierge is number 1.
Yeah.
On her call list.
Oh, that's a tough one, but we want to know, Nicole, which one is it, Hyatt or your husband?
I don't know. You have to join the newsletter to find out.
Oh, well, get us started tonight, Nicole, with the brands, because there's a lot of brands. Is that right? 30 brands with Hyatt?
Yes, 30 brands with over 2,200 hotels. Hyatt's pretty popular. So we're going to start with a different collection. Hyatt breaks down their hotels into different collection. And the one people are most familiar with is their timeless collection. Serena's favorite hotel is a part of this collection. Serena, the Park Hyatt is a timeless collection.
I was surprised.
Why?
I didn't know. I thought it would be in a luxury collection or something.
Well, it's the king of the timeless collection. Is that luxury enough?
It is.
And maybe it's Queen, the Grand Hyatt, and maybe the Princess, the Hyatt Regency. So these brands include Hyatt Place, Hyatt, Hyatt Vacation Club, Hyatt House, Hyatt Studios, and Cove. These are the ones people are most familiar with. I think almost all of us have stayed at a Hyatt Regency, a Grand Hyatt, or even a Park Hyatt. Now, the Boundless collection has brands like Alila, Andaz, and the Thompson. There's an independent collection that has things like JDV and the Unbound collection, and the all-inclusive collection has things like Hyatt Zilara, Hyatt Ziva, Dreams, Zoetry, and a couple of other brands. And most recently, they have added, this is like a quiz, this is a pop quiz. What is the latest addition to the Hyatt brands?
For the inclusive collection,
Just in general.
there is a Vivid property. Is that the one you're talking about?
That might be good for inclusive, but I'm talking about Hyatt in general.
If it's wrong, I want to go next.
All right, Serena, you're up.
Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Mr. and Mrs. Smith is the latest addition to the Hyatt collection. Miguel, I thought
Miguel.
you had that in the bag.
I thought you were talking about the inclusive collection.
We'll give you another chance, another round. So tonight we're going to explore some of these brands. We're going to talk about things like which ones are our favorite, which ones we don't really like, which one you can get great value from. Things like which has the best lounges, maybe even which one has the best breakfast. You guys know my love for Hyatt runs deep. Like Hyatt Globalist is one of my favorites on my call list. Like if they call me at midnight, their call is going to go through past do not disturb. It's my kids, my mom, Hyatt, and then the husband.
Oh, wow.
There's our
Guess
answer.
so.
Let's talk about some of the Hyatts that are memorable. Ones that we love, ones that we didn't love, but because we didn't love them, they are like a staunch memory in our brain. All right, how about we start at the top of the list? Mitch and Serena, you guys love your Park Hyatt. What would you say is your favorite Park Hyatt and your least favorite Park Hyatt?
Easy. Mitch, we've talked about this many times on the show. Our favorite Park Hyatt is
Park Hyatt Kyoto.
Kyoto.
That's right. And soon to be Nicole's favorite new Park Hyatt as well. I just have this feeling.
I hope so. I'm looking forward to it.
I feel like we shouldn't hype it up so much for her, or else she's going to go in with very high expectations.
I agree. But, you know,
I think it's too late for that. I think you've hyped it up enough. There's no going back now.
Don't forget your cup of noodles and your nail
That's
clippers.
right.
Exactly.
I've only been to 2 Park Hyatts, so I guess one of them has to be my favorite. The other one's the worst because by default. I've stayed at the Park Hyatt Seoul and Park Hyatt Tokyo. So I would say the Park Hyatt Seoul is my favorite from those 2. And then Park Hyatt Tokyo is the worst. I mean, it was great, but I only have 2 options. I don't have a long list like Serena and Mitch.
This is interesting to me because I would have thought you would have picked Tokyo, but tell me why Seoul?
It all has to do with the service. I know you like service Serena, and the service at the Park Hyatt Seoul was way better than it was at the Park Hyatt Tokyo. But maybe that's actually because at the Park Hyatt Tokyo, I wasn't a globalist, remember? So maybe that had something to do with it. But no, I think overall in general, because when we arrived at the properties, they don't know if you're a globalist or not. So we were treated as we arrived. The Park Hyatt Seoul's service was just better. But the Park Hyatt Tokyo is currently being remodeled. So I don't know, maybe they'll be remodeling their service as well, and maybe it'll be better. It wasn't bad. I don't want to say that this is bad. It's just I've only been to 2 of them, and I prefer the one in Seoul.
Okay, now for our worst Park Hyatts. For me, it's very easy. My worst Park Hyatt experience was the Park Hyatt Aviara near San Diego. And it was so bad that we're not going to go back there unless we're forced to. We also recorded a special episode about that, and stay tuned because I will go into detail about how bad it was.
I would say I don't know if I would call it the worst Park Hyatt, but maybe the most deeply disappointing Park Hyatt that I've been at is the one in Melbourne. It's because it desperately needs a renovation. Their breakfast buffet, it's totally like a cruise ship out of the 80s. It's these different tiers and it's got that glass and it's just like, wow. But the only good thing about it was Mr. Walker, the dog. That was the best part about the Park Hyatt in Melbourne.
Just like Miguel, I've only stayed at 2 Park Hyatts. The first one was in DC. This experience being the first at a Park Hyatt was, I don't know, I didn't feel like I would go back to any of them. Like, oh, it's not worth it. The one I went to was kind of old. We got a really nice suite upgrade. The room was massive. And that breakfast was definitely the best. I couldn't imagine spending 40,000 points at Park Hyatt New York after staying at this Park Hyatt. But then we went to the Park Hyatt in Auckland. Now that's a brand new hotel and it's on the water, and that one is gorgeous. After that, it renewed my faith in Park Hyatt. I was like, oh, I see what Serena's talking about. Plus, they had tons of Le Labo. And you know, I left with a couple souvenirs. So I'm excited for the Park Hyatt Kyoto, because that one's fairly new.
Serena, I want to hear your list of all the Park Hyatts you've stayed in because there's about 50 of them. So I want to see how close you are to checking them out off your list.
I don't think I'm even at 10. So let's see. I've done Park Hyatt Kyoto. I've done Park Hyatt Shenzhen, Istanbul, which I also really loved, Vienna, Aviara, Dubai. Yeah. This winter, I have to pick a hotel for Paris, and there is a Park Hyatt Paris, which is famous. But you know what? I don't think I'm going to stay there. And the reason is because the rooms at the Park Hyatt Paris, from what I've seen, look very dark and dingy, whereas the rooms at the Hotel du Louvre are more light and bright, which is what I prefer. In this case, I'm not picking a Park Hyatt.
That says a lot.
As much as I like lounges too, and that view of the Eiffel Tower from the Hyatt Regency in Paris, I was very drawn to it, but the standard rooms are very small. We're big people. We need more square footage.
But how many rooms do you need?
Oh gosh, this is the problem with traveling with 6 people. We need 3 rooms. Even if we were to book the suites only allowed 2 people in each room as well. So for 6 people, 2 in each, 3 rooms, that's a lot of points. But at least no money out of pocket. I am looking forward to my stay at Park Hyatt Milan next year too, because that's a favorite among Hyatt fans. Mitch, how many Park Hyatts have you been to?
When we stayed at the Park Hyatt in Bangkok, they actually had a box of all the Park Hyatts in the room of like the little cards and told you about all the locations. And we pulled this box out and we were kind of sifting through them. And this is just from my memory. So I know we've done Park Hyatt Sydney, Park Hyatt Melbourne. We've done Park Hyatt Bangkok, Park Hyatt Zurich, Park Hyatt New York, Park Hyatt Doha. And we also did the Park Hyatt Abu Dhabi. And that one was actually pretty nice. We liked that one. And we've also got 2 booked because we're going to Argentina at the end of November and we're going to stay at the 2 down there. So kind of looking forward to those.
Hyatt has about 30 different brands. What are some of the notable brands other than the Park Hyatt that you guys have stayed at? Or maybe hotels in general. It doesn't have to be a specific brand, but which one stood out in your mind?
Well, Nicole, one of my favorite properties is one that we've been at together. No, not Alila Napa.
Not that one.
Not that one. Have we been at another one together?
Yeah, the Hyatt Regency O'Hare. No.
Nicole, not the Hyatt Regency O'Hare.
Although that was pretty fun experience, having everyone there, getting to talk with the ones that watch us on YouTube, listen to us on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts. It was great to see everyone there. But there's one we stayed at that was just over the top.
That would be the Grand Hyatt Abu Dhabi. That property is so memorable for me.
It is. I called my mom every night and was like, I don't care if we have to fly Spirit back here. We are coming back to this hotel. That might be pushing it now, knowing what I know now, but it was that good. I mean, my favorite thing about a hotel is the lounge, and this lounge has to be the best. I challenge you in the comment to tell me a Hyatt with a better club than the Grand Hyatt in Abu Dhabi. Go ahead. I dare you.
We want to know about it so that we can check it out and see for ourselves if it tops Grand Hyatt Abu Dhabi.
What did you love so much about the lounge? I have one specific thing I love. What about you, Serena?
Oh, I loved everything about it. The variety and humongous spread of food, the service, the made-to-order cocktails, having our own private area for our 2 families. There's a balcony you could go out on. I just thought it was such a great setup.
I love the manager at the club. I remember the second night we were there, my family, they ate all the creme brulees. And after they ate all the creme brulees, they asked the manager for some more. And he said, you guys ate all of them. But he said, I'll have some more for you tomorrow. I love that they were able to realize what we needed. And they're like, no problem. We'll take care of it.
My mom the next day asked for more creme brulee too. And they went back and got them for her.
So what about you, Mitch? Tell us a memorable Hyatt that you stayed at.
I think the one that comes to the top of my head is the Park Hyatt Bangkok for their breakfast. They've got the a la carte menu that you can order everything from, which is great. But they also have fresh cut mango on their breakfast buffet. I mean, how often do you find that? The disappointing part is it goes so quick. It's like they're vultures waiting for them to put it out, and they put it out and then the poor girl has to go cut more. I'm like, can I get some more mango? She's like, yeah, no problem. But they're so nice at the Park Hyatt Bangkok. And if you've not done the afternoon tea there, probably one of my favorite things to do. It's so pretty. It's so beautiful. All the little cakes and desserts that they bring out. It's a beautiful setting, beautiful location. And it's a category 5, which is what, 25,000 points a night? Not a bad deal, I think.
Well, we really like the Park Hyatts, of course. But other than that, some of the ones that are memorable are actually like the Hyatt Regencies by Disney World or Disneyland, only because of what that entire trip encompassed, which was the family being at Disneyland or Disney World. So in Disneyland, we stayed at the Hyatt Regency Orange County a couple times. And at Disney World, we stay at the Hyatt Regency Grand Cypress. They're big resort with conference rooms and all this stuff, a lot of families, but it's not so much the stay at the hotel, but because the trip we went to Disney, those are memorable because of that. And the kids like the hotels. I mean, if there's a pool, my kids love it. So
Hyatt also has a Boundless collection and an all-inclusive collection. Have you stayed at any of these? And what were some things that stood out about either the brand of that type of hotel specifically? The Boundless collection include things like Miraval, Alila, Andaz, The Thompson, Dream Hotels, Hyatt Centric, and Caption. You also have the Independent Collection, which is Unbound, Destination by Hyatt, and JDV by Hyatt. So just go down your list, see, Have I stayed at any of these? And does it speak to me like, the Hyatts I've stayed at before?
I've stayed at a few Andaz properties, and one unique thing about them is I guess that there's like a minibar and it's all included. They don't charge you for like most of the minibar stuff. Sometimes there is some charges for some alcoholic beverages, but most of the stuff in the minibar is included with the Andaz stays. So I've stayed at the one in Vienna, the one in Abu Dhabi, and now after listening to you, it's like, okay, maybe I should have stayed at the Grand Hyatt Abu Dhabi and not try to save my points by staying at the Andaz. But the Andaz Abu Dhabi is only 9,000 points when I went, so that's where I stayed.
Listen, this is where I first started to learn to listen to Sereno. I was gung-ho about the Andaz, and I'm like, I need to save my points because the one over there is double the price and it was non-refundable. But let me tell you, best points I've spent. So if you're choosing between the Andaz and the Grand Hyatt in Abu Dhabi, definitely go to the Grand Hyatt. Our first stay as Globalist was at the Andaz Papagayo in Costa Rica. Oh man. When you talk about memorable, we went to breakfast and asked, what kind of things we can order on the menu. And the lady was like, whatever it is you like. That's what it was like. Okay. And so we got there and we were like, can I have one of those, one of those, one of those? And they're like, is that it? Can we have some more? She goes, sure. Whatever it is you like. And we had the entire menu. It was so good. I was sold. I was like, I don't care what it takes. We're maintaining Globalist. To earn Globalist that first year, we did a couple of mattress runs. I ended up spending about $800, but it was totally worth it. And it's fun you mentioned that thing about the minibar, Miguel, because growing up, I feel like the minibars in hotels were traumatic experiences for us.
Same.
I'm 40 something years old, and every time I go into a hotel and I see the minibar, I have like a heart palpitation.
Like, don't touch it.
Serena, did your parents allow you to take stuff from the minibar when you were growing up?
I just want to make sure we're on the same page.
Okay.
I actually have this conversation with my kids every time we walk into a hotel with a minibar with stuff in it.
So we're passing on the trauma is what you're saying.
We are. Don't touch anything. Because a lot of them have sensors too.
I tell them that whether they have sensors or not, I'm like, don't you dare. You're going to have to drink the water hot. We're not putting it in the fridge. But thanks to the Andaz, we can alleviate some of that trauma. And we take out all the snacks before the cleaning lady comes so they can refill them. And when they come back at night, they refill them again. Do your family a favor. Take them to an Andaz.
You're absolutely right. The Andaz brand, probably one of my favorites. A couple that we've stayed at is the one in Singapore, Pattaya, and Bali. And the minibars in all those rooms in those Andaz brands were great. But when we're talking about the other brands like Alila, we did take Mama to the Alila in Encinitas, and we actually enjoyed that. And she really enjoyed it because we're right there on the coast. It was beautiful. We had a great view of the water. It's a little chilly, but the breakfast there was really good. That was included with our Globalist benefits. And that's back when they were a Category 7. We burned a certificate on that we had earned to stay there one night because it was going to expire. Then they went up to a Category 8. I think they're back to a Category 7 right now. I don't know if I pay points for that, but burning the certificate there, I think it's a really good property if you like the California coast and you like seeing all that stuff. So the Alila, Encinitas, good property.
Talking about Alilas, I have been to Alila Ventana Big Sur twice. And that is a property that a lot of Hyatt fans love because that property includes all food. And you get one drink during cocktail hour.
Serena, how many points to stay at Alila Ventana Big Sur?
This is a Category 8, so maximum 45,000 points per night. But you get to be one with the Redwood Forest. The suites there are very nice, and the food is included, which is a big plus. That saves a lot of money.
Would you say that it's worth it at 45,000 points per night?
After being twice, I probably am not as interested to go again because honestly, I think the food has gone a little bit downhill. But people who aren't picky and people who want to save money, I think it's great to have food included. But being as it is a property that charges over $2,000 a night, my friend, when we were there last time, we were sitting down at dinner, we said to each other, we would be so pissed if we paid $2,000 a night for this. So definitely use points, don't use cash. But they are a sustainable brand. And I took this pen from the hotel room.
Nice.
I don't usually take pens, but when they look like this, I take them.
When they're not nailed down, they're going with you, right?
Exactly. Do you have the water bottle?
I do! A couple of different versions of them.
Oh my. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm asking because I was supposed to go there last year. I had booked a weekend on a holiday weekend because I was able to take some time off from work. But then my sister ended up planning a party, like a family party that I couldn't really say no to. So I ended up having to cancel it. So it's still kind of on my list. I want to know if it was worth it so I could try to put it back on my list to go back.
You know, maybe we should all go together, the four of us.
That didn't sound too convincing.
Nicole, don't you want to come back to the best coast again?
I'm already there enough. I'm good.
And they also have a lot of promotions, you know, for cash rates. Something like get the third night free or something like that, or discounts.
So with Alila Ventana Big Sur, it's 3 hours south of the San Francisco airport. So it's not easy to get to. You have to fly into San Francisco, rent a car, and drive down to get there. I think if you're already here in the Bay Area, then it's a great place to see in addition to the other things that you're going to do. But I don't think it's worth a trip by itself. Like wrap it up into a big Best Coast, West Coast trip.
Said no one ever. I guess I already know the answer to this question. So Miguel has not gone to Alila Ventana Big Sur or Park Hyatt Kyoto. I'm guessing he should spend his points at Park Hyatt, right?
I would choose that hands down. Absolutely.
My next trip to Japan is solo, so I think I'm going to wait until my wife goes with me. So this next one, I'll probably do a capsule hotel like you, Nicole.
So Alila Ventana Big Sur includes food, but not all Alilas include food. This is actually the only one that does. Fortunately, Hyatt has a ton of all-inclusives in their portfolio that include food and drinks all day long. So Hyatt has multiple all-inclusive brands. The adults-only properties are Secrets, Impression by Secrets, Hyatt Zilara, Breathless, and Hyatt Vivid. The family-friendly ones are Hyatt Ziva, my favorite, Dreams, and Sunscape. Zoetree is an all-inclusive and it's adults focused, but some of those properties do welcome children. And then there are the Alua hotels. Some of those are family friendly and some of those are adults only. Most of these all-inclusives are in Mexico and in the Caribbean, except for some of the Alua properties, which are located in Europe. So I want to know if any of you guys have tried any of these all-inclusives.
I actually went to Dreams in Costa Rica. We actually went there twice. The first time we went there, we had a bit of service issues. I advocated for myself and they're like, why don't you come back for an additional 3-night stay? So we had a blast. My kids love all-inclusive. I think it's a great place to take your family. The food wasn't bad, but it was a little above average, and unlimited Shirley Temples and unlimited cocktails. I don't see what could go wrong. Absolutely nothing.
Nothing tastes better than free.
Well said.
I remember that trip, Nicole. Well done.
When we stayed, it was between 20 and 25,000 points per night for 2 people. And it just depends on if it was a peak night or an off-peak night. It's a lot of points for 2 or 3 nights. So you have to evaluate if food included, drinks included is worth that amount, because you could probably stay at a Hyatt Regency for half the price, but there's no food included.
I have not stayed at any of the all-inclusives, but if I were to pick one, I'd probably pick the Impression by Secrets because I saw Serena's episode. It looked really nice. If you haven't watched episode 28, definitely go give that a look because Serena gave us all the details about staying at the Impressions by Secret, and it's a pretty good episode.
I did all the research, so you don't have to. I had a really good time there. Something to note about the Impression properties is there's only 2 of them in the world. There's that one in Playa del Carmen, and then there's one on Isla Mujeres, and I would love to go to that one day. So for family-friendly all-inclusives, I loved Hyatt Ziva Cap Cana in the Dominican Republic. I loved it so much that I don't need to go to any other all-inclusive with my kids. Like, that's the one to go back to because it was luxurious. They have a water park, great food, good drinks. It was nice. Another favorite is the Hyatt Ziva Cancun, but they only have a little baby water park that is in the kids club. So I think my kids are just too old for that, but that's another favorite property that a lot of all-inclusive fans like to go to.
So pop quiz. Don't look at any notes. Don't look at your screens. There are 6 Hyatt properties that have a casino. Which ones can you name?
I know there's one in New York.
Really? Oh, Is it Resorts World?
Yep, that's one.
Rio, Las Vegas. Does that count?
Yep.
Grand Hyatt Baja Mar.
I can't believe Mitch missed that one.
know,
He had a whole
right?
episode on it.
Hyatt Regency Aruba.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, good one.
I don't think you're going to guess them, so I'm just going to tell you. So the last two are Hyatt Place at the Hollywood Casino, Pittsburgh South, and Hyatt Regency, Lake Tahoe.
Oh my gosh, I've been to that one. I should have said that.
I asked you guys this question because I was noticing on the Hyatt app, it's been updated and now it has a little map feature. So in this map, you can filter by different brands or categories and all this. And it's a pretty neat map. Something else that's on the app is the Brand Explorer. This is the promotion that Hyatt offers where every 5 different brands that you stay at, you get a free night certificate. With 30 brands, that means that there's a possibility of you getting 6 free nights if you stay at all the different brands. I've stayed personally at 12 different brands. I want to know how many brands you guys have stayed at. Go ahead and open your phones, open the Hyatt app, and we're going to do a Hyatt brand reveal or whatever.
Serena, you're up.
I have 13.
I'm at 12.
Mitch, how many do you
Okay,
have?
so I'm looking at the app right now. So I have 11 brands that I've stayed at, but I feel like Park Hyatt should count multiple times for me because I've stayed there so many
Oh my
times.
God.
So,
You never play by the rules.
course you
You
would think
never
that.
play by the rules.
Okay, let's guess Nicole's. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm going to say 14 then for Nicole.
I'm going to guess 16.
survey says.
13. We're tied.
Oh.
13.
Once you stay at one of these brands, it doesn't matter if you stay again, like Mitch trying to count it again. It only counts once. So once you've stayed at a Park Hyatt, it doesn't matter if you stay again. It's only going to count once. So if you had not stayed at some of these brands, you want to try different brands because every 5 different brands, you'll get a free night certificate that'll give you a free night at category 1 through 4 property. Now, why is this important? If you're staying at a place that has 2 different hotel options that you want to pick and you haven't stayed at one of the brands, maybe you should pick that brand so you can check it off your list and start earning more free night certificates. The brands that have less properties out are going to be harder for you to earn because there's not as many of them. If you see a Hyatt Studios, there's only 1 property so far and it hasn't even opened. The Hyatt Studios opens in Mobile, Alabama, March of 2025, but there's only 1 property so far in the pipeline. There are only 3 Miraval properties with a 4th one opening up sometime next year in Saudi Arabia, the Red Sea. There are 5 Dream Hotels. The Dream Hotels are located in Hollywood, Midtown in New York, Nashville, South Beach, and there's one going to be opening up in Valle de Guadalupe in Ensenada, which is south of Tijuana. As far as the all-inclusive, like Serena mentioned, there's only 2 Impression by Secrets properties, and that staying at either one of those will check it off the list. There is 1 Vivid property, and that's in Cancun. Now, there is 1 brand that is just Hyatt by itself. It's not Hyatt Regency, Hyatt Place. It's just Hyatt. And these are hard to get because there's not as many of these. There's only 19 of these in the world, which is 1% of the Hyatt portfolio. And there is 1 in Chicago. If you would have came to our meetup, you could have stayed at it and knocked it off your list. If you do not have the Hyatt brand checked off, another one that you could stay at is the Rio Casino in Las Vegas. That counts as a regular Hyatt. So next time you're in Vegas, check it off your list. There are currently 3 caption hotels. That's Shanghai, Osaka, Memphis, and they're now taking reservations for the Nashville caption if you're staying after March of next year. And another one that a lot of us have not checked off the list is the Mr. and Mrs. Smith. And now with the new brand of Mr. and Mrs. Smith, there's now over 800 Mr. and Mrs. Smith properties that you can stay at to knock that brand off your list as well. However, the Mr. and Mrs. Smith, they don't follow the typical award chart and they're dynamically priced. So it's not really a great deal using points for this. If you see a good cheap price, then maybe that's a good time to check this one off the list because using points for Mr. and Mrs. Smith doesn't typically give you a great value.
So let's talk about this award chart that you mentioned, Miguel. It's one of the reasons why we all love Hyatt so much. At a Hyatt hotel, not including all-inclusives or Mr. and Mrs. Smith and a few other exceptions, you can expect to pay anywhere between 3,500 and 45,000 points per night for a standard room. For Hyatt all-inclusive resorts, excluding Miraval, you can expect to pay between 12,000 and 58,000 points per night for 2 people. And at Miraval resorts, expect to redeem between 40,000 and 72,000 points per night, depending on single or double occupancy. It is because of this award chart why we love Hyatt so much, because you can get such outsized value with so little points. We're not spending between 150,000 and 2 million points like we do with Marriott and Hilton Hilton.
The 2 million, I know you're talking about Hilton because Marriott doesn't go that high. Marriott maybe like a few 100,000, but Hilton's the one that's, I don't know, unhinged. Serena, I think a lot of people's issues with redeeming points is that they don't know if they're getting a good deal or not. So should I use cash or should I use points, right? So with this award chart that spans from 3,500 all the way to 45,000 points per night. So we are going to put a table up on the screen that people can screenshot and refer back to kind of give them an idea of whether they should use points or cash for their next stay. So we think if you can get more than 1.5 cents per point for Hyatt, it's a good deal. So for example, if there's a property that is charging you 15,000 points per night or $225, we see that as equal. That means that if the room would cost more than $225, it would be better for you to use 15,000 points. However, if they're charging 15,000 points per night and the cash rate, including tax, is less than $225, then you might want to go with cash for that stay. Of course, this is not a one-size-fits-all scenario, but typically this table that you see on screen would tell you whether you're getting a good deal and whether you should be using points or cash. What I found interesting about this chart is that almost half, about 46% of all Hyatt properties are a category 1 through 4. And there are some free night certificates that you can earn to be able to stay at one of these properties instead of using your points. So let's talk about these free night certificates.
Yes, Miguel. Free night certificates are so nice and valuable. And the great thing is with Hyatt is there are multiple ways to earn free night certificates. For category 1 to 4 certificates, there are different ways you can earn these certs. When you hold the consumer Hyatt credit card, you get a category 1 to 4 free night certificate each anniversary year. You also get a category 1 to 4 free night certificate when you spend $15,000 each calendar year on this card. When you earn 30 elite qualifying nights on your Hyatt account, you will also earn a category 1 to 4 free night certificate. And then, as we talked about earlier with the Brand Explorer, otherwise known as Hyatt Bingo, you will get a category 1 to 4 certificate for every 5 Hyatt brands you stay at. There is also a category 1 to 7 free night award, and you get that when you earn 60 elite qualifying nights and at 100 elite qualifying nights. And then lastly, there is what's called the Ultimate Free Night Award, which is earned when you get to 150 elite qualifying nights. These Ultimate Free Night Awards can be used at any category 1 to 8 property, at any Miraval, or any category A through F all-inclusive. So you'll want to be aware that these free night certificates also have expiration dates. And the easy way to remember it is to know that the milestone rewards, the ones that you get at 30, 60, 100, 150 nights, those expire in 6 months. And that expiration means you have to check out by that expiration date. It's not a book by expiration date. So you'll want to make sure that when you earn that free night certificate, you're going to be able to use it within those 6 months. And then the other free night certificates expire within a year.
Serena, free night certificates are my jam because when you get 2 people in your house doing this twice, right, you can end up with almost a total of 6 free nights, which is great. So that's what we do. So we each get one free because we hold the credit card. We each get one when we hit 30 nights for the milestones. And then we both spend $15,000 on this card. I know, don't judge me on that. But when we do, we get a free night certificate too. So we walk away with 6 free night certificates, which is great. But what's even better is I can then gift them to my husband Polra and we can put them all under one account if we want to make a reservation for one night. So we could do a 6-night reservation with all these certificates that we earn.
And the great thing is when you gift it and it's used, you get an elite night for that as well.
One way we use the Brand Explorer to earn an additional free night certificate, because we have to book 2 rooms, I book one room as guest of honor in my husband's name so he can go to different brands and collect the Brand Explorer certificate there. So if you have a family where you have to split your rooms, make sure that you're booking one room in the other person's name, in your P2 name, your sister's name, so that they can hit different brands within the Hyatt hotel chain.
So question for you guys when it comes to the certificates, do you find that you have your own internal number of what you value these certificates for? So we have a value for our points, but do we have a value for our certificates?
Maximum 18,000 points.
I mean, I try for it to be a category 4, but I mean, if I'm actually going somewhere that I need to be at, I mean, I'll take a category 3, I guess.
Yeah, for me, just being able to use it by the expiration date. I just need to make sure I use it and not lose it. That's what I'm focused on. So I've talked about before how I used a category 7 certificate and I used it at a category 6 hotel. And I didn't mind doing it because I was using it.
I guess for me, I go back to what the annual fee is on the credit card. That's kind of how I value these certificates. So the annual fee on the credit card, which I get the certificate for holding the card, $95 for the annual fee. So if I can get more value above $95, I compare it to cash rates. That's kind of where I am in my head with this. So if I'm going to stay somewhere and the cash rate's like maybe $300-$400, yeah, I think I'm doing great. But that's kind of how I look at these certificates.
That's a very good way to rationalize them, Mitch, and that's how I'm going to look at it now.
So with these free night certificates, one good thing to know is how to find properties that fit within these categories. So first you want to Google Hyatt Hotel List. It will be the second one in the results, and it's named List of Hyatt Hotels. You can click on that and then you select region. I'll change it to all and then select hotel category. And then we can look at category 4. And here is a list of all the category 4 properties you can use this free night certificate at if there is a standard room available with points. And if you want to see a map view, there's this little button on the top right. You can click on map, and in the search bar, I'll put Hong Kong as an example. And we can go to filters, check category 4, and then you'll see your results here. And there are 2 properties in the Hong Kong area that are category 4. You can even zoom out, move the map around, and see other properties in Southeast Asia that are also category 4 properties. And you can use the same procedure for category 7 properties as well. So Miguel, you mentioned this new map feature on the app and I haven't been able to find it yet. Can you show us how you get to this map?
So first, you need to update your app.
Okay, I'll do that.
So I guess there was a recent update on the Hyatt app. And the first thing I noticed was different font. Other than that,
Yes.
There's also a new map feature. So if you're on the home tab, you just scroll down. There's a section called Explore Hotels and Resorts by Map. If you guys haven't seen it.
I'll follow along.
So then you'll see the hotels and resorts map. It will be categorized by region, but there is a filters tab on the top right corner, and you can filter by brand, award category, and which amenities there is. So this is how I found out there was 6 casino properties, because in the amenities, there's a casino filter. I filtered that and applied, and it showed me that there's 4 in the US and 6 in the Caribbean. That's how I found the casinos. If you wanted to find which properties you can book with a category 1 through 4 certificate, you could select all 4 categories and it will show you all properties that are available by region. So let's say you're going to Europe, you could click on Europe, and then there it's further categorized by country. So let's say you wanted to go to Italy. There are 2 category 1 through 4 properties in Italy. That is the Hyatt Centric Murano Venice and the Hyatt Regency Rome Termini. Now, some of these properties that it shows you, they're going to be new properties that might not have opened yet. For example, if we filter out the Miraval properties, it's going to show that there are 3 in the US, the ones that we all know, but then there's also 1 in the Middle East. So that's how I found out that they're opening the Miraval, the Red Sea in Saudi Arabia in the fall of 2025. And it doesn't allow you to book it yet, but you can see what's in the pipeline.
Hey, you know what I found? There's a Camp Hyatt filter. There are 50 Hyatts with a Camp Hyatt where I can dump the kids, and most of them are in Asia. Let's go to Asia.
What do your kids think about that?
They're going to hate
Yeah.
I just need to get them ramen and they'll be fine. Okay, we're going to wrap up this special Hyatt show with a game show. Just
dear.
kidding.
Okay, thank God.
Mitch got excited.
So we're going to wrap up this Hyatt show with a Q&A. We posted on our social media channels about any questions that people might have about Hyatt. And so we are going to answer them for you. Ready, guys? What is the best use of a category 1 to 4 Hyatt free night certificate?
Me, Grand Hyatt, Abu Dhabi.
That would be my answer as well, Nicole.
I would say the best use is for a property that you're going to stay at anyway, because you're not trying to just burn the certificate on the highest value. It's a stay that you actually had planned. But as far as specific properties, I like the Hyatt Regency Paris Etoile and the Hyatt Regency Grand Cypress in Orlando if you're going to Disney World.
The only one that comes to my mind right now is because I've just booked it for next year is the Grand Hyatt Melbourne, because it's a category 4. And during tennis, those rooms go for like $400 to $500 a night. So I kind of revert back to my original question of annual credit card fee, $95 for this this one free night, and I'm getting like $200-$300 value out of it.
So I'm looking at the Hyatt Regency Tamaya in New Mexico for myself because I've always wanted to stay there. And I don't think enough people talk about it, but I hear it's so beautiful. So I'd love to experience it. And I feel like a lot of the category 4 properties in the US has been dwindling. So I think you should look outside of the US. There is a Park Hyatt in Cambodia. It's a category 4. And that sounds amazing. So check outside the US for sure for great uses for this certificate. Okay, next question. Same goes for category 7. The best uses for a category 1 to 7 free night certificate.
So last year, I used mine at the Huntington Beach, Hyatt Regency Huntington Beach. It was a category 6, I think. And I was in the area, so I used it. I mean, it was okay.
I'm going to go with Andaz Papagayo in Costa Rica. That property has been going up in value every year. So I say while it's within range, definitely use it there.
You know what's crazy about that property? It's over $2,000 per night during peak season. It's crazy. And it used to be a category 4.
It's a beautiful property though. The Andaz Papagayo is in a really nice neighborhood and there are lots of high-end hotels surrounding it. So I could see why it'd be $2,000 a night.
Two that come to mind for me is the Park Hyatt in Maldives, but I don't know. I've been hearing kind of mixed reviews because that property might be a little bit older. The other one is the Grand Hyatt Kauai, and I think they got a water slide at that one, but it's a very popular property and sometimes it's hard to find availability there. But it would be a good use of a certificate.
And I will say, look at the brand new Park Hyatt in London. That is a category 7 and the rates for that hotel are through the roof. So you will get great value for your certificate. Step. I don't have Hyatt status. What properties should I be focusing on?
If you don't have Hyatt status, here are a few places you could stay at. I recommend Hyatt Place, Hyatt House. Both of these brands offer free breakfast in the US to everyone that's staying there. Or you could get yourself a couple of friends that may have club access awards and you could stay at Hyatt Regency or at the Grand Hyatt. With the club access award, you will have access to their club lounge, which usually provides free breakfast and afternoon snacks and sometimes happy hours. Now, you also could consider staying at one of their all-inclusive brands. That includes free food and drinks for everyone staying, regardless of status. Just bear in mind that some Hyatt places outside of the US do not include free breakfast. Two notable ones are the Hyatt Place in Kyoto and the Hyatt Place at London Heathrow Airport. You would have to have Globalist status in order to get free breakfast. So if you are going to stay in a Hyatt Place internationally, I would highly suggest you call and find out if breakfast is included.
Well, I guess Nicole just covered it all, so...
Okay. Next question. I have these club access awards. Where should I use them at?
My answer to this would be pretty much anywhere internationally you can find a club lounge. It's going to be great outside of the US. And the ones that come to my mind immediately is the Grand Hyatt in Bangkok. We've done that lounge there. That is an incredible lounge. They're making fresh Thai food there. It's really, really good. And the Hyatt Regency there too. Those are probably the two lounges that are really good that I hear a lot of people talk about that we've actually done, that we've enjoyed. And you can also use these certificates at the Hyatt Regencies as well. And I know, Nicole, there's a lot of lounges that you've been to that you like at these Hyatt Regencies.
Absolutely. I would pick a Hyatt Regency with a good lounge over a Park Hyatt any day.
Really?
100%. Absolutely. What? With 4 people? Dinner included? No, sign me up. Hyatt Regency it is.
What I find interesting about these club access awards is that for some properties, you're pretty much getting the same benefit as a globalist without being a globalist, because if you earn or if somebody gifts you one of these club access awards, sometimes that free breakfast that a globalist is getting is just free breakfast buffet at a lounge. For example, at the Hyatt Regency Maui, we stayed there. The free breakfast was just the breakfast they had at the club lounge, where if you had booked a club level room or applied a club access award certificate to your reservation, it's the same breakfast. So you don't have to be a globalist to get the same breakfast benefits at some of these properties. And mostly it's at Hyatt Regency or Grand Hyatt properties.
We want to know which hotels have the best club lounges. Hyatt Regency, Grand Hyatt. Tell us specific hotels that you've stayed at that you have enjoyed their lounges. Leave us a comment below. We'd love to hear from you.
So I know we talked about Grand Hyatt Abu Dhabi already. And then I also want to add the Grand Hyatt Hong Kong, wonderful harbor views, delicious custard buns. I'm going back because I loved it so much. Okay, so one thing to know about club lounges is a lot of properties have closed down their club lounges. So there's not a great source for finding out if a hotel has one or not. The best thing to do is call them or email the property and see if they have one. If you make a reservation, you might see rooms available with club access. That's a good indicator that they have a club lounge. And then I like to resort to Facebook groups too. There's a lot of information there about people sharing their data points and all the different club lounges that they've been to. Okay, this is a good one. Do you think Hyatt will get rid of their award chart like all the other hotel programs?
Shh.
La la la
Knock
la
on
la,
wood.
la, la.
Next
Yeah.
question.
I think so, but not yet.
Miguel, next question.
I think it's eventually going to happen too. We're being realists. Nicole, rip off the Band-Aid. It's going to happen at some point.
I'm living in a fantasy.
The good thing is that I feel like Hyatt, if they were to do that, they would give people advance notice because, every year around March, they change the categories of some of these hotels, either going up in category or down, but they give you advance notice. So I feel like if they were to switch to dynamic, they would also keep at the advance notice at least so you could do your advance bookings. And Nicole, I know you would book the entire year.
You don't even want to know.
Okay, here's a good question. Aside from the sign-up bonus, do you think it's worth having the Hyatt cards?
The personal, yes, I have the personal and the business, but the personal because it gives you a free night certificate for category 1 through 4 property, and you're paying a $95 in a fee. So earlier in this episode, Mitch just made me realize, you know what? If I'm getting a free night that is worth more than $95, it's a good deal. It doesn't matter how many points it would cost because it's just $95 for the annual fee. So I think the personal card is worth it.
It's a good deal, but it's not a great deal. Case in point, you pay $95 for the Chase Sapphire Preferred. Then you get an ink card. If you only get an ink card once a year, you can get multiple 1 through 4 category certificates. I'm just planting the seed.
I would say yes, and here's why. So first off, I get a free night certificate. Second, if I spend $15,000, I get another free night certificate. I also get 5 qualifying nights towards my status of globalist. And then with that $15,000 that I spend as well, I also get 2 nights per 5,000. So that's an additional 6 nights that I get. Yeah, I think it's worth it.
Next question. Where is the best place to use my Suite Upgrade Award?
I'm going to say wherever you can find availability and preferably if it's a longer stay because those Suite Upgrade Awards, you can apply to whether it's a 1-night stay up to a 7-night stay for the same award that you're applying. You can only apply these when there's a standard suite available. And how can you find these? Seats.aero has a partner website called Rooms.aero where you can sort by suite column. So you can go to Rooms.aero and once you have a specific property in mind that you want to stay at, you can search Rooms.aero and you can sort for that property by suites. And if it's available, you could apply it for your stay. Now, remember, if you want the pro subscription to Seats.aero, we have a special discount code for that. Just look in the show notes so you can save some money. Now, I remember Mitch used a Suite Upgrade Award at the Andaz Pattaya because I remember the drone footage. He was like floating in the pool. And he further upgraded by negotiating with the front desk there. And he got this like 3-room villa. It was amazing, wasn't it, Mitch?
Yeah, you know me. I go big or go home. That's my motto. So I've done that in Pattaya in Thailand. So we took the certificate and we went up to as far as we could with the suite. And then we paid cash to upgrade beyond that because we weren't sure if we were going to get it or not. And it had a little private plunge pool, which was nice. And we did that in Bali as well. But we went all the way up to a villa. That's what we like to use. We like to go above if we can with the suite night certificates.
Above and beyond.
You like to live high on the hog.
And Bali was episode number 33. So kind of did a little mini review of the property and how we booked all that in the room. And it was great. So go watch those.
Okay, Suite Upgrade Awards, you can earn them as a choice at 40 nights and 50 nights. And then you get 2 when you get to 60 elite nights. And I use them whenever I'm traveling with my family because we need the space. So I save them for when I'm with my kids. One last question with 2 parts. If you were at 38 elite nights, would you work hard to get to 40 nights? And then part 2 of that question, if you were at 56 nights, would you work hard to get to 60 nights?
I would say absolutely. At 40 nights, you're going to get a guest of honor award and you get a choice to pick a suite upgrade award. This will allow you to, test out the Globalist benefits on a stay for up to 7 nights.
Yeah, definitely. If you have a stay where you can apply one of these suite upgrade awards or the guest of honor award, and you would be willing to pay, 10,000 points for these benefits, then you can find a category 1. And if you get lucky, you could even do it off peak for 3,500 points per night, 7,000 points total. But for 10,000 points, I say it's definitely worth it if you find a category 1 that's in the area.
Absolutely. We're loading up the family car and we're driving to Las Vegas and we're going to go spend about 4 to 5 nights at the Rio and we're going to round on up to wherever I need to get. So yeah, absolutely. And you can see where we actually did that in episode number 46, where I did the actual podcast from the Rio in my room.
I am also absolutely on both counts. So starting next year, for those of us who have top tier elite globalist status, the guest of honor is going to change. It won't be unlimited anymore. And so at 40 nights, I get a guest of honor, and I need those so that my parents can have free breakfast too. So I need to earn those nights so that I can get the free breakfast for them.
So the kids won't eat free breakfast, just the parents.
No, they're going to eat cup of noodles in the room.
Got it. Sold.
All right, Serena, final question. Go for it.
Okay, the final question is, where are you guys at on your road to globalist status? So they want to know how many nights we have so far.
So everybody's a globalist currently, right?
That's right.
Yes.
So the road for the following year, then you guys have to guess how many qualifying nights I have this year.
35.
I think you are 25.
54.
You're 54.
Way.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm shocked.
Good for you.
Because you did fast track.
Yeah, I did the fast track, which means I only needed 20 nights to earn globalist. But this is, I guess I don't need to, but I just had it. I'm at 54. I'm going to Chicago this weekend, 4 more nights. So I'll be at 58 by next week.
Nice.
Nicole, let's guess. Nicole's at 56.
It's September. She has at least 2 full weeks left. She's going to be at 49.
I'm guessing somewhere in the 40-ish range.
Mitch, you have to give me a number, not a range.
Yeah, he guessed 10 numbers. 40s.
Always not playing by the rules.
46.
Okay, here we go.
On the money?
On the money. Yeah.
On the money. Wow.
46.
All right. My turn, right? What do you guys think?
Mitch, well, he did the Rio.
He did. I know he's past 60.
I think he's past 60.
So I'm going to say 68.
I'll say 64.
I'm going with 56.
Oh, Miguel, I think you're the closest. I'm right there at 62.
Ah.
I got a little greedy at the Rio and I did a couple extra stays. And then like you, Miguel, I had that promotion too that counted. So we're going to Argentina. It's probably going to put me at 70. So, hey, 10,000 extra bonus points. Why not? All right, Serena.
Okay, guess.
Serena's got like a whole month left of traveling this year. So she doesn't have to be that high ahead yet. She's probably at 33.
I'm going with 42.
Serena is a very calculated person. She plans this stuff out.
Amen.
I'm guessing she's right there, 43.
She does not like to waste anything, so she is going to check out on the 31st with 60 nights.
Right.
I was originally going to check out on the 30th with 60 nights, but I think I'm going to be a little bit over.
52. Wow. I never would have guessed it was that high already.
That means all her stays are going to Hilton after this.
So then the rest of her stays are
Diversify.
probably at Hilton.
All right, we want to know, how many stays do you have at Hyatt so far? Are you going to go for Globalist this year? Let us know in the comments below.
I think what we do need to do is we need to have like a globalist party at the Rio and Las Vegas meetup. I think that would be really cool. You know, at the end of the year, everyone trying to get to 60 nights, we could all do it together.
Yeah.
Sounds
Back
fun.
to the West Coast.
That's right.
Another Best Coast meetup.
That's it for now. I want to thank all of our hosts. It's Serena.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you, Miguel.
Later.
And we're going to see you next week at 60 nights, right, Nicole?
Almost. See you guys next week.
And I've been Shannon. Make sure you sign up for our email newsletter. Just snap the QR code right now on your screen or scan Miguel's hand. That's the best way to do it for the latest and everything going on in the points and miles world. And we're going to see you here next Friday. Thank you for watching and listening.
Let's get to the points.com.